is one of our sessions for Care for Me Week. I hope you have had a chance to participate in some of our sessions this week. But if this is your first one, this is a great one to get into. So I'm very thankful to have Sharon Delaney McCloud with us today, talking about exploring the Blue Zones way, your health is your wealth. As she mentioned, please put your layout to stack. I'll be watching the chat. I know she will as well. So please feel free to use that to comment. I'm also going to put in the chat a link to the handout that she wants you guys to have. So that is there. And towards the end of the session, I'll as well share the link to our Care for Me Week page. So if you want to go and take a look at any other sessions, we'll be able to do that. But without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Sharon.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew. And I am so delighted that you all have made time in your day to join us today during Care for Me Week. And I want to first preface this. I am not a clinician. I have no actual medical training, but I am the CEO of my own health, as are you. And we can listen to all the advice of our primary care physicians. We can read all the articles that are on our UNC Health Talk. We can do all of these things and read about it, and you get all this advice. But unless you make the decision to make the change in your behavior or your outlook, what's it all for? And so that's why I say I think that we are the CEOs of our health. And I know this to be true, that our health is our wealth. And today I'm going to share with you what I have learned by exploring the blue zones over the last, I've been looking at this work and studying it for more than 10 years. Quick show, either raise your hand. You can, if you'd like to turn on your camera, would love to see your beautiful faces, but you can raise your hand or put up your animated hand. Who has heard of the blue zones? Or is this brand new for you? Do we have any folks who have heard of the blue zones? A lot more people have heard of it lately because of Netflix, because there is a special on Netflix that is now available, which I think is fantastic, because now the masses can get hear and learn more about the Blue Zones way, which I think if you were to speak to your primary care physician, and I actually just got off a call with Dr. Sarah Rowe, who is with us at UNC Health. She is a weight management physician, and she is a huge fan of the Blue Zones and the philosophy behind it. She talks to her patients about it all the time. So I feel like we are in good company. So with that, let me tell you what we're going to be going over today. First, we're going to do just a quick and easy self-assessment of where we think we are in our own assessment of our health. Then I'm going to dive into the Blue Zones primer and give you a little bit more background about what the Blue Zones is and why I think we could all learn something from it. And that leads into thinking about your purpose, which is a big part of people who live in the Blue Zones, to why they say they live so long and thrive at the same time. And then I would love for each and every one of us to take action by choosing one thing, one behavior change, or one decision that can positively impact our health. So with that, we are going to do a very quick and easy straw man's poll here. I'd love for you to put into the chat your answer. Right now, do you feel your health is, put in a 1 if you think it's excellent, a 2 if it's very good, a 3 if it's good, 4 fair, and 5 poor. 3.5, sure, we can do things that are halfway in between. All right, I'm really pleased to see a good number of 3s, a couple of 4s. I like that 3.5. A couple of 2s, a couple of 4s. Now, are you all still in the New Year's resolution mode? Is that why you're reporting some good news here? I don't think I saw any excellence, though. 3 to 4. Oh, yeah, Carol, you don't make those New Year's resolutions. I actually didn't make them full-fledged this year either because they're difficult. I think we set expectations that are too difficult to stick with. Starting tomorrow. All right. Yeah, get January out of the way. All right. Well, I'm glad that we have a good number of people who have a good assessment. Goals, not resolutions. I like that, Andrew. Okay. Well, thank you for participating in our little poll. But here is what I have learned while studying the blue zones, which I think when you think about this for a minute, it's a little startling. 20% of how long we live is dictated by our genes, which means that 80% is a direct result of our environment. And our environment, some of it we can control and some of it we cannot. But there are specific things we can make decisions, as in what we're putting in our mouths each day. And are we getting up and taking walks? Are we spending time outdoors in fresh air? Are we spending time with the people we love? There's lots of decisions we can make that do fit in the bucket of the 80%. This was rather startling to me because I feel like, I don't know about any of you all, but I oftentimes feel like I have an X on my back. My father died of cancer. My mother has cancer. My brother had cancer. I had cancer. My daughter had cancer. And so I just feel like there's just this awful set of genes in me that is setting us up for cancer. But we can get past the cancer like I did. I'm 8 years out and hoping to thrive many, many more years. But I do know that 80% of how those years look is dependent upon my environment and how I live within it. So let's now delve into why this blue zones concept came to be. And let me give you a little bit of background. So the blue zones is a term that was first coined by Dan Buettner. And he is a National Geographic explorer, a journalist, and a fellow. And during an exploratory project that he led back in 2004, so 20 years ago, so this has been studied for a good amount of time, he took an expedition to Okinawa, Japan. And this was back first in the year 2000 to investigate the longevity that he heard about that. Did you know that in Okinawa, they have the highest number of women who live to 100? They are centenarians. But here's the thing. They're not just living to 100, they are thriving. They're not sitting in a nursing home sick with chronic diseases. They are still mentally alert and living life. And so he spent some time there. And then he said, I wonder what other regions of the world are there these populations of people living to 100 but are thriving within that. So with the support of National Geographic, he traveled the world in search of these communities where these people are not only living longer, but they're also enjoying a high quality of life in their old age. And after analyzing the demographic data and interviewing numerous centenarians, he identified 5 regions in the world that stand out for their extraordinary longevity and vitality. And here they are, and I'm happy to report that there is actually a new blue zone that has come about. But these are the 5 areas, and now a new 6th, across the planet that have populations with extremely long-lived, happy, healthy people. Again, 20% of our lifespan is determined by our genes. The other 80% is the lifestyle. So here they are, Okinawa, Japan. Then Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, the Nicoya region of Costa Rica, and the only place in the United States is Loma Linda, California. And then our newest blue zone is Singapore. Now, the Loma Linda, California blue zone, it's interesting. What he discovered there, because it's in our country, is that Loma Linda, California has a very high population of Seventh-day Adventists, which is a religion. It's a Christian-based religion, but they believe in being vegetarians. And they also treat their bodies as their temples, and they exercise a lot, and they have communal meals together. So those were some of the lifestyle habits that he noticed there. Now I'm going to show you a little video that gives us a fuller picture of what the blue zones, what makes them so unique and incredible. Take a look. Can everyone hear this? Thumbs up?
There's something about Ikaria. Yes, it has the same picture postcard beauty as other Greek islands, but there's something else going on here. Perhaps it's the food. But whether it's the very old, you are very fast on your feet, or the very young. There's an extraordinary vitality here. Scientists say the people of Ikaria live at least 10 years longer, and with radically lower rates of serious illness like heart disease and dementia. Right now, a team of scientists is trying to find the answer, and what they discover might change the way we all live.
It's fine. Perfect.
Dr. Christina Chrysohou is a cardiologist who's been tracking the health of Ikaria's older residents in a landmark 4-year study. What she and her colleagues are finding is, quite simply, astounding.
Okay.
They're seeing patients up to 100 years old whose hearts are in much better shape than medical science can explain.
His vascular aging is younger than his age.
How much younger?
About 20 years younger.
People on Ikaria don't just live longer, they're much more likely to arrive at old age with all their faculties intact.
Most astoundingly, we found almost no sign of dementia. So these people are not only living a long, healthy life, they're reaching the end and they're very sharp. And that, at the end of the day, is what you want. The maximum life expectancy for our species right now is about 92. The Ikarians are reaching that better than any other population in the world.
It seems to me effortless for the Ikarians, far more than the rest of us, to reach 100.
None of these 90 or 100-year-olds ever tried to live to be 100. Longevity happened to them.
Thank you. 100-year-old Gregorius Tassas is out for his daily coffee in the town square, and still as sharp as a tack.
He says that you should come and stay in that village and you will reach that years.
The rugged terrain of Ikaria has bred tough, resilient people who walk and climb hills every day because they have to. Men like Christodoulos Porus, who at the age of 95 is still as agile as his goats, and recommends a hard bed, not too much of the good life, as secrets to a long life.
We have a lot of herbs here. We have many different teas here. And they have been analyzed and they have been shown to contain properties that are much stronger here in Ikaria.
Would you eat processed food at all?
No. When you make a chicken soup, you have chicken, rice, lemon, salt, and pepper. That's all you need.
Apart from chicken and a bit of goat, most Ikarians eat very little meat of any description. Their diet is almost entirely plant-based. And something else too. It might just be the Ikarian social life that holds the key to their longevity.
We don't have a table for the younger children and then the table for the adults. There's no lines of separation between the generations. And this is very nice because nobody feels out, because nobody feels useless, and nobody is left alone.
They are useful in the community till the very end.
And no one's left out.
This is the secret, not only living up to advanced age, but also having good quality of life, which means good mental stress without depression. And in order to have that, you must have a purpose in your life till the very end.
So that gives you a little bit more of a deeper background, specifically on Icaria or Icaria. And that is on my bucket list to go visit now. I love the idea of visiting Icaria to see these people who have embraced this lifestyle. Has anybody watched the Netflix documentary? Group trip. I love it, Carol. Yes. I want to move there now too. Yes. There's a 4-part documentary on Netflix right now that tells you all about the blue zones. I'll have to quickly look up the official name of it, but if you go to Netflix, Google, or do the search blue zones, and you'll see a 4-part documentary. And here's the cool thing: one of the people that you will see featured in this documentary, I'm going to introduce you to him now, is Stamatis Moriartis. He, when he was 66 years old, his doctors told him that he had 6 to 9 months to live after being diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So Stamatis, who had spent most of his adult life living in suburban New York and Florida, when he found that he was getting short of breath, unable to finish a day of work like he used to. So the Greek father of 3 decided to move back to his homeland where he had come from when he was like 19 years old, on the isolated Mediterranean island of Icaria. So he and his wife returned to Icaria. He didn't want his family in the US to be burdened with the thousands of dollars that he knew an American funeral would cost. And he said, let me be buried beside my family by the sea, where it will cost my relatives only a few $100s. But here's what happened to this lovely gentleman. Back on Icaria, this Greek island, which is parked halfway between Athens and Turkey, it was just remarkable. Mr. Moriartis didn't know it at the time, but he was returning to his unique isolated spot where people live to 100 or more. He had re-entered a blue zone. And you know how much longer he lived? Not the 6 to 9 months. He lived another 3 decades. 30 years. Mr. Moriartis lived until he was 105. Can you believe that? So when he went back there, he bought a small vineyard. He moved onto a vineyard that he tended himself, and he wanted to leave it for his wife. Well, 6 months came, 9 months came, a year came, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, goodness gracious, he lived to 105 with his full faculties. That is just extraordinary. And I just think that we can learn so much. And I love the idea that there's no separation of generations, that everyone eats at the same table. And I like this quote. And this is from the Blue Zones. Humans evolved in an environment of scarcity and hardship. But now, in 2024, we live in an environment of excess, ease, and excess, right? All the conveniences that we have created in modern life have actually stripped us of our health. Going to drive-thrus, eating frozen meals, not getting out and walking, everything in the United States, you got to get in a car. There's very little natural reason to get up and go. And it's because of the environment. So one of the big recommendations from the Blue Zones philosophy is if you change your environment to require you to do more activity, that is one of the ways to do it. But we know there is no silver bullet. Ultimately, the team of medical researchers and anthropologists and demographers and epidemiologists, they searched for evidence-based common denominators in all of these blue zone areas. And they found 9 lifestyle habits that lead to healthier, vibrant living. Now, the handout that Andrew mentioned that he popped into the chat, that will be available for you, but I'm going to go through those 9 principles now, but you will also have this as a handout. So what we call them are the Power 9. That's what the Blue Zones calls them. So we're going to go through them one by one. So the first one is move naturally. The world's longest people don't pump iron or run marathons or join gyms. Instead, they live in environments that constantly nudge them into moving without even really thinking about it. Like Mr. Moriartis, they grow gardens and they don't have mechanical conveniences for their housework and their yard work. They actually dig with their own hands. They do the planting, they bend down, they stand up, they're moving naturally. So these, again, number one, move naturally. The environment nudges them to do that. Can you walk or bike instead of drive? Now, I know that's a huge ask here because unless you live in a community where they have designated bike lanes, you could be taking your own life into, you could be risking your life. But could you grow a garden? Maybe start small. I actually, when I first started studying the Blue Zones lifestyle, I went and got a square foot garden. Has anybody heard of a square foot garden? Has anybody heard of one? I ordered, you can order them off Amazon. You can buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot. And I plant every spring. Ooh, Amy, you have a tower garden. Who else has a garden? Who grows some of their own food? Would love to see in the chat or to raise a hand. Good stuff. Tell me what you're growing. Does your tower garden have tomatoes, Amy? You can unmute yourself too. Tomatoes, thanks to my chickens. Wait, what?
I currently have an avocado tree going in my apartment right now. Not on purpose. It just happened that way.
Are you kidding? You
It's
can
got
grow
leaves.
in this climate?
I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was going to be a plant. It started as a plant, and my mom told me that if I keep going, it's going to become a full-grown tree.
Holy smokes. Did you buy an avocado to eat and then you put the,
Yep.
it's like a huge, is that the seed? The
Mhm.
huge,
You dry the seed, you peel the outside skin off, and you just stick it in a bag of damp paper towels, and it just started sprouting. And so now it's like taking over my wall currently.
oh my gosh. All right, I've got to try this. It's awesome. All right, let's see. Heather, you've got tomatoes, cucumbers, and basil. All these different things. And I am a proponent of trying not to spray things, and I try to go to certain garden centers where I can get organic seeds, and I know that sometimes makes it a little bit more challenging because bugs and things, but I still think it's worthwhile. Maybe if you had a screened in porch where you could grow the gardens to try and stop some of the bugs from coming in. All right, Andrew, you grow herbs, but during the summer, tomatoes, zucchini, squash, all awesome things. Yes. And so, I think that's a great thing. Maybe that's something that we could all look to do this spring. My dog dug up the garden. Oh, dear Carrie. Maybe you can get that chicken wire. I see sometimes people putting chicken wire over there. My neighbor does that because deer come and eat out of his garden. So he puts chicken wire over it. So that might be an option. So that's great. It's available. It's something we definitely could do. All right, so let's now look at number 2, purpose. So let's look at some of it. The Okinawans call it ikigai. The Nicoyans in Costa Rica call it plan de vida. And both of them translate to basically, why do I get up in the morning? Knowing your sense of purpose is worth, are you ready for this? Up to 7 extra years of life expectancy. 7, right? That is crazy. And I think about it, people who, you hear this, how many times have you all heard people who retire and they go and sit on the couch for 12 hours a day and watch television, and then next thing you know, you hear they've gotten some kind of awful disease? When you lose your purpose, so it doesn't mean you have to work for your whole life, but what can you shift? What is that purpose that you could you volunteer? Is there a project that you weren't able to take on when you were working full time that now you could do? Could you do something with Habitat for Humanity or a food bank, or spend more time with maybe grandchildren, or visit old folks' homes, or there's so many different things we could do if there is a purpose. And that is a driving force to find that. And maybe it changes over time, but that is proven to have incredible effect in our longevity. Number 3, even people in the blue zones experience stress. No one is immune to it. And we know that stress can lead to chronic inflammation, which is then associated with every major age-related disease. And what the world's longest lived people have that we don't have are routines to shed the stress. Now, some of you may have these, and I know I'm trying to do more of this. Okinawans take a few moments each day to remember their ancestors. The Adventists, the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, pray. The Icarians take a nap. And then the Sardinians do happy hour. And I love that. Can we get a high five for the happy hour? But within reason, okay? So here's what I learned in reading about the blue zones, and I got all the different books and all the things. But in Sardinia, which is an island in Italy, they grow a very specific grape to produce Sardinian wine that is called Cananau. You know what? I'm going to pop that into the chat because I have started buying Cananau wine. Cannonaau. Cananau. And I'm wondering if it's one N at the it's either Canonau or Cann. But this red wine comes directly from Sardinia. And the Sardinians drink 1 glass of red wine starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they begin to unwind. And that's an important thing. They know how to downshift. So I buy the Cananau wine at Whole Foods. You could also order it, but they actually carry it in Whole Foods. And so that's something that I've added to my shopping list, and I try very hard to keep it at 1 glass so as to not overdo it. Because, of course, we know too much of anything is not a good thing. All right. Number 4, the 80% rule. Has anybody ever heard of Hara Hachibu? This is the 2,500-year-old Confucian mantra that they use in Okinawa, that you need to stop eating when your stomach is 80% full. And the 20% gap between not being hungry and feeling so sickly full could be the difference between losing weight or gaining weight. So as a result, this can help you to stop from overeating. People in the blue zones eat their smallest meal in the late afternoon or early evening, and then they don't eat again at all until the next day. So there's that, it almost is like a natural way of intermittent fasting. Does anybody do intermittent fasting? I tried it a few years ago, failed at it, and then I tried it again, but with a lesser intensity, and I dropped 10 pounds. I didn't change what I was eating. I just changed the time of what I was eating. I generally don't start eating until 9 a.m. and I am finished eating by 6 p.m. And I try to do that Monday through Friday. I give myself a little bit of grace on the weekends because the plans are different. Ooh, let's see. Yvette, you changed to vegetarian 3 years ago. Okay. Did that help? Are you feeling healthier? Are you staying well? Better? I'd love to.
Yeah, so I actually used to eat meat quite often. I probably ate a burger every 2 weeks because of work. But yes, my energy has definitely been different, and I don't feel as sluggish. But also because you cut out one thing, you do deprive yourself of other things your body needs. And I do feel better and I sleep better. My skin has actually gotten 10 times better. And I had to replace things I lost with some supplements, but I had to be more careful about choosing which ones because you want them to be water soluble and you don't want it to sit on your stomach. So I also had to kind of balance my snack time. So it's like a little bit of give and take, but it is a process. And I am officially vegetarian as of this month. 3 years.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. I also struggle with trying to find enough protein. I went vegetarian a number of years ago. I went for a colonoscopy and I failed my colonoscopy. Did you know that could happen? So I came out of the colonoscopy and one of our doctors, he said, Sharon, you failed your colonoscopy. You have the longest colon for such a small person. Your colon belongs in another mammal altogether. How about that? Being known for having the longest colon, right? It's called a redundant colon. He couldn't get to the end of my colon because it was so long. Oh my gosh, how ridiculous is that? So as a result, he had to send me down the street to another doctor right then and there. It was mortifying, where they basically put a garden hose with this barium stuff to light me up and then on this tilt-a-whirl thing to fill up my colon so they could see if there was any issues. Sorry, I would never say this outside of UNC Health, but we're all in the healthcare field. Anywho, he said, you need to change your diet because you have a very slow gut. And as you age, it will get slower and slower. And you don't want to be 80 years old and not be able to go to the bathroom. He said, I think you need to give up dairy and I think you need to do a plant slant. He didn't say go straight up vegan or vegetarian. He recommended I lessen definitely the dairy piece, but also more vegetables. And it absolutely has helped me feel healthier and more vibrant. Okay, I'm just looking here. I saw a couple people in the chat. Let's see, Heather. So you eat noon to 8 and you don't do it on the weekends. Yes, same thing. Yeah, so you have that 8-hour eating window, 16 hours off. Yes. Let's see. Pre and probiotics, Yvette. Yes. Very good. Yes. So these are all excellent things that we can consider. Again, I am not a doctor, but I am the CEO of my health and I know what works for me. And so I think there's some trial and error that can be done with some of these ideas that are a part of the Blue Zone philosophy. Okay, so this leads us nicely into the plant slant. Here's what the researchers found. Beans, including fava, black beans, soybeans, and lentils are the cornerstone of most centenarian diets. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to incorporate to get more protein. Meat, which is mostly pork, is eaten on average only 5 times per month. And the serving sizes are 3 to 4 ounces, only about the size of a deck of cards. I mean, can you imagine, like when I go to the restaurant with my husband and he orders a steak, it's like 12 ounces. Holy smokes. That's enough for 3 meals and he eats it in one sitting. Woo! So I think, you know, with moderation and reasonable amounts, but that's, I think, something that we can be thinking about. The plant slant doesn't have to be sudden and severe, but you can ease into it. Here's the next thing. And this is what I just talked about with Sardinians. People in the blue zones unwind at 5. At the end of the day, they close their laptops, they leave the office, they unplug from their work-related activities to give their minds a rest. These communities find that way to disconnect from their work to allow their bodies and brains a chance to recharge overnight. And so I know that that is not always possible. And I default to work. I'm a workaholic. If you ask anyone in my family, they'll tell you I work all the time. I have to very deliberately shut everything down. And I have to be very careful about not checking emails at 10 o'clock at night when I'm about to turn off the light, because then I'll dig into that. So unless it's an emergency, is there a way you can start to disconnect and literally let your mind have a rest? Do you know in France, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's against the law to be emailing your employees after 6 p.m. Like, you don't answer. And you could even put like a response that starts at 6 p.m. each day or 5 p.m. and turns off at 8 the next morning. Like, I turn off my email in the evening so that I can spend time with my family and friends and to disconnect. If this is an emergency, please do call me. But if not, I'm happy to get back to you tomorrow. Right? I don't see anything wrong with that. All right. The number 7 principle, belonging. We all want to belong. All but 5 of the 263 centenarians that the Blue Zones researchers interviewed belong to some kind of faith-based community. The denomination did not matter. Research shows that attending faith-based services 4 times a month will add, are you ready? 4 to 14 years of life expectancy. What? Holy smokes. All right, so religion may not be in your wheelhouse. You may not want anything to do with that. But is there a group? Maybe it's a group that meets on Saturday mornings to do yoga or to do meditation. Maybe you even meet virtually. I know that at Dick's Park in downtown Raleigh, they have free yoga almost every weekend that you can sign up and go to. So maybe it's just with regularity and consistency, a group of people where you're getting a chance to turn away the noise of the world and focus on meditation and spirituality. Again, it doesn't have to be a hard and fast religion. But I think that's really interesting. 4 to 14 extra years of life expectancy. All right, let's take a look at number 8. Loved ones first. Successful centenarians in the Blue Zones do put their families first. And this means keeping aging parents and grandparents either nearby or in the home. And believe it or not, the research shows that it also lowers disease and mortality rates of children in the home by having those older generations. And also the centenarians commit to a life partner, which adds up to 3 years of life expectancy. And they invest in their children with time and love. And then if you do that, they'll be more likely to care for you when the time comes. So that could be something to think about. I will tell you that I am currently in this new season of life where my 88-year-old mother has just moved in with us, and I am now her full-time caregiver. It is a blessing to have her in the home, and I am happy to report that at age 88, she is sharp as a tack. She could be like one of these centenarians. And when I look back at her life and her lifestyle, it's because she has been so active up until just a year or 2 ago when she was diagnosed with lung cancer. Like many people in her generation, she smoked for 40 years. And she gave it up a number of years ago, but it didn't matter. She was still diagnosed with lung cancer, but she is thriving. She's like Mr. Moriartis. She's doing really well, but she moved in with us and it has changed the dynamic of the household for sure. It has added a little bit more stress and we're still trying to figure out the routines of that, but it definitely can change how you are approaching your family dynamic. Oh, Carol, disc golf. I love that. Same here with my 98-year-old grandmother, still independent. What? Wow, that's impressive. That is definitely impressive. Okay, and now the 9th pillar of the Blue Zones. Positive pack. The world's longest people choose or were born into social circles that support healthy behaviors. In Okinawa, they create what is called a moi, and it's, you see the spelling there, M-O-A-I-S. I believe it's called a moi. I think the S is silent. But what a moi is, it's a group of 5 friends that are committed to each other for life. Now, researchers from the Framingham studies show that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. So your moi or your social network really influence your behaviors. So does anyone have a group of friends that they are committed to? Like I have some girlfriends that I grew up with since I was a little girl in Miami that we all promise because we're probably going to outlive our husbands, that one day we're going to live in a communal house together on Miami Beach like the Golden Girls. Does anyone have any sort of idea like that? That is idea. Basically, the Golden Girls was the American version of Amoy. They took care of one another. I believe in Durham there is a communal house like that, where there's a big communal kitchen in the middle and different people in apartments come down. They cook together. If someone doesn't show up, they go and find out, where's so-and-so? Is everyone okay? Oh, let's see. Heather, let's see what you have 3 friends. We met in middle school. We get together at least once a year for a girls' trip. Yes, that's exactly the idea. That's your Moy. You know, always checking on each other. Andrew, you have a great community around you. That's excellent. Oh, let's see. Carol, oh my gosh, your mom is with you in a converted garage apartment. Excellent. We converted our formal living room, because nobody ever sat in there, into my mom's new bedroom. We did that over Christmas break, so she has her own space now. My grandmother had that with her sisters. Courtney, yes, she made it to a healthy 92. These are all such great examples of how having that community of tight-knit friends. And, you know, if you don't see or hear from someone, you check on them. And that's what having that connection really changes things. Take a look at what Winston Churchill said. Shape your surroundings and they will shape you. And then listen to this. Loneliness is a function of our environment, but so is community, right? I mean, think about that. We can make these decisions to ensure that we are still creating connection. And I know as we grow older, it's harder to make friends. But can you figure out a way to maybe reconnect with friends from years ago that you haven't talked to in a while? How can you create that Moy or that community again? So let's now take a look at what I'd love for all of us today to take action with something. If you could look at the Power 9 that is available to you in the handout. Can you choose, can you start with one thing? Can you move more each day? Can you think about having that right outlook? Can you eat more wisely? Can you think about forming more connections? These are all things that you can be doing. Now, in the handout, I'm just going to pull it up on my side. So I have in there the handout, a way for you to look at your purpose. Remember how we talked about at the beginning of our session today, that all the people who lived in these communities in the blue zones had purpose. In the handout, there is a way that you can help distill what that purpose might be for you. So with that, I am finished with my content. I'd love to open up discussion or answer any questions. Would love to hear from you all what you think about this Blue Zones principle. I know I saw a couple of you said that you've bought the recipe books. I do too. I have the Blue Zones Kitchen, which has recipes from all the 5 Blue Zones. And then there's the Blue Zones American Kitchen, which I think is really cool because what Dan Butner did is he said, you know what, there's got to be some great Blue Zone communities in the United States. And he went and investigated and found great recipes that we can make. I also found a new book that has nothing to do with the Blue Zones, but it's a Mediterranean diet, which has a lot of the similar things that the Icarians in Greece have and the Sardinians. Jamie Oliver's new book, which is 5 ingredients for the Mediterranean diet. And oh my gosh, because sometimes you open up these recipe books and they have like 20 ingredients. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had the time to prep all of that food and buy all those things. And I don't have all those herbs and seasonings and it just seems overwhelming and then I don't do it. But the 5 ingredients, holy smokes. I went to the store on Sunday and I bought enough things to make 3 of the recipes. Holy smokes, I am so impressed. I made this most delicious mushroom soup. I made the baked tomato soup. And then tonight I'm making this potato thing that looks delicious. I also have the stuff to make a tortilla frittata. Okay, let's all have some questions. Tell me what you think. Ah, Kimberly, it's in your Amazon cart. I am very impressed. I have to say that I think that we could. I also, you know what I thought? Roasted cauliflower. Just 5 ingredients. I mean, and I work a lot, but when I'm working from home, I'm cooking from home. It's not as easy if I'm obviously on the road. All right, let's see. What are the 5 ingredients? Oh, is it Lenice? Well, it depends on the ingredients. So let's see. For the roasted cauliflower. Now, the one thing that he says, you have to prepare your pantry with things that are like table stakes. A couple of, there's things that he says every pantry needs. You need to have olive oil. And so 2 different olive oils. One for cooking and one for dressing. Red wine vinegar. Sea salt and black pepper. That's it. Those are things you always need to keep in your pantry. But then, for example, if I'm going to do the roasted cauliflower tonight, it's a head of cauliflower, 4 cloves of garlic, 3.5 ounces of sourdough bread, which the sourdough bread is considered much more healthy. Blanched almonds, and then roasted red peppers, and you can get them in a jar. When I did the baked tomato soup, I saw him cook it on Good Morning America last week, and it was easy peasy because it used canned tomatoes. Now, I made sure to buy the ones from Italy so they didn't have corn syrup or all the junk that American processors put into the foods. But these are all, I just love this because it takes away the excuses of too many things and too many ingredients. Dinner at Sharon's, yes. Yes. Ask away. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I think maybe you're on mute. Does anyone have any questions? There's also, if someone needs, if you're a list maker like I am and you need something to help you be accountable, and again, you would think I work for Blue Zones. I should get a little cut of commission off this. I promise you I do not. But a couple of years ago, Dan Buettner came out with the Blue Zones Challenge, which you can see all of my little placeholders here. But this is a way that if you need a little bit more structure on making yourself do things, this is another, it's a small little book, and this one was helpful as well. Yes, okay, I agree. Let's see, Kimberly, since making a lot of changes at once can be overwhelming, I will pick one at a time from the list and give myself time to incorporate it. Yes, that's the whole point. That is why I said that at the very end, look at the handout and choose one thing to start doing more of. So for me, I love to cook. And so that's an easier one for me, but I'm trying to move more. Because I don't know about you all, I am stuck in front of WebEx all day long, all day. Oh. So that's something that I think, you know, could I take a walk in the afternoon? Could I do something else to get moving? I could do yoga or something right here in my house. So I can't use winter or rain as an excuse. All right, let's see. Good to know. All right. Oh, and yes, so go to Netflix to see the Blue Zones. Let me get the actual name of the
I put the name in the chat earlier. It's
something like The Secrets or yes.
It's Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zones.
Yes, that's it.
I will say
Question?
before I jump off that your enthusiasm with the blue zones is amazing. So thank you. But also it's interesting. A lot of things that you listed, I kind of live by a little bit. And that's because, and I think it's because of my family background. And also I grew up in Okinawa. So that kind of like rubs off with our whole, how I grew up in the US as well. So I kind of brought that with me, incorporating things I learned. And I think that's what determined my diet too.
That is awesome. You know, here's the thing. When you watch the Netflix special, what was crushing to hear is that they returned to the blue zones to see how they are doing 20 years later. And in Okinawa, where the Pizza Huts have arrived and the Burger Kings and the McDonald's, now in Okinawa, they have horrific issues with cholesterol and heart disease because the Western diet arrived. Again, that convenience and ease is the enemy to health.
Yeah. And a lot of it happened after their storms had hit and they lost a lot of that land. So they had to find ways to kind of financially reimburse it, and unfortunately took a hit to their way of living with diets. But you do an amazing job, and I was so thrilled to hear your just everything, your whole entire excitement, even in your body language, I can hear it. So it was great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If anybody has any questions, please reach out after the fact or anything. I hope that some of this will, and if you do it with your family and maybe get them incorporated, could it even start like, could you take a walk after dinner or take a walk in the morning? But if it's cold and yucky out, can you pull up one of our, do you know that we have free classes through, you could take Zoom classes. I know if you go to our intranet, our healthcare centers used to offer free, like on Thursday nights, you could do Zumba in your living room, but YouTube has free classes. There's so much available.
And you can do samplings of those fun free classes this week. Right in
is it? Oh, during Care for Me week?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's perfect. At our wellness centers?
Yep, our wellness centers are providing a lot of these classes that they have regularly. They have a big lineup of them. I'm going to put the link in the chat to the intranet site, but on the intranet site, you can look on the left-hand side and see all of our different getting active kind of challenges. We've got a bunch of virtual classes, as well as some of our fitness centers have set up where people can come in for free, whether or not you're a member or not. If you're an employee of UNC Health, you can come in, just bring your ID badge.
And there's also the online Zumba and Bollywood and what else I don't remember.
We've got Zumba, Bollywood, strength and conditioning classes, line dancing, big handful of different things. Lunch yoga, things like that.
Cool stuff.
I'm putting the names of the books into the chat now. Let's see. Blue zones. I do love this Jamie Oliver one though, because the whole 5 ingredient thing is amazing. He's apparently he's done numerous 5 ingredient cookbooks.
I just put a link to the handout once again in the chat if you missed it earlier.
All right, so all of those books are now in the chat. And yes, I didn't put them in the handout, but they're easy enough to find on Amazon or at the local bookshop. Well, thank you all so much for joining. This has been a lot of fun.
I'll echo that as well. And I guess we're ready to close it up. But thank you all so much for joining today. Thank you, Sharon, for meeting us and for having a great conversation to help us think about those blue zones. And I've got like 5 tabs open that are like, where am I going to move to one day? Because I want to be, it is a goal of mine to live abroad at some point, and Mediterranean is a high on that list for me. So we'll see. I need to figure out if I can do a virtual working agreement from Italy, but
Wouldn't that be fabulous?
I don't know if that's possible, but
Maybe you could start small, maybe like 1 month in the summer, and then
yeah,
expand
that may
to
be the
2 months.
goal, is to do some exploratory month here and there. So
I do want to emphasize that when you all get the handout, you will see section 2 is about your purpose, and do spend some time on that piece, because I think you will discover some things that you hadn't thought about before. So that I didn't explain in our session, but it's very clear in the handout.
wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us today.